Another example of this work is what we're doing to support first-time homeowner Black families who are facing systemic challenges. Well, just last week, I met Roderick and Kamisha, who are able to move into their new home because of the financial support this government gave to organizations like Black North.
Welcome to Cool Life Podcast, brought to you by therealthingdating.com. www.therealthingdating.com.
Polydor Records for out scouting. This girl grabbed my bangs and ran my head right into the speaker.
Oh.
And everyone here like this, yeah.
When we shot the scene in Good Will Hunting, I didn't know who most of these people were at the time. I mean, they weren't stars. It was Gus Van Sant that directed it. Gus Van Sant was on the floor with Matt Damon's character. I didn't even know who Matt Damon was at that time.
I'm Eva John. I'm a former candidate for local government. I was a children's television entertainer, and I love this world, and I believe we should take care of each other and have a lot of fun along the way. Welcome to Cool Life. Here we go. And welcome to Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, and I'm very pleased to say for today's episode, we're going to have a look at the Canadian government's official celebration for Black History Month, which occurred on the 7th of February 2024 in Gatineau, Quebec, at the Canadian Museum of History. And I had the honor and privilege of being there. I was invited, and it was a very special event. So amongst the hosts being the Black Caucus, also hosted by the Honourable Kamal Karan, Minister for Diversity and Inclusion and Persons with Disabilities. The MC for the evening was the Honourable Ariel Kayabaga, who is the representative for London, Ontario. And it was, of course, attended by the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau. And so it was quite an evening of entertainment, an evening of networking, and an evening of a rather important announcement, a huge and important announcement from the Prime Minister with regards to the Canadian government's commitment to support Black culture and business and equality. It was definitely very special to be in that wonderful place, in that beautiful building where they moved all of the contents of the former Museum of Men to the Museum of Canadian History that is in Gatineau. Gatineau used to be called Hull, or the French way of pronouncing it, Hull, with the muted H, because it is on the Quebec side. And from that vantage point, you can actually see the Parliament buildings. So it's really literally about 2 minutes across the river and is part of the twin city of what was once Ottawa Hull and now is Ottawa Gatineau. The city of Gatineau had its name changed to Gatineau from Hull to accommodate the fact that culturally Quebec is a predominantly French culture, French language province. No one asked me, but in my opinion, I think it would be nice if the names of cities were updated to reflect the true cultural heritage of the land and represented the First Nations culture. And I hope and pray the day is coming when our cities and provinces and lakes and mountains are going to reflect the true culture of the First Nation. I'm also glad to say that the evening started with a blessing and a tribute from elder of the Algonquin Nation. So I'm going to give us a chance to take a look at how the ceremonies opened up with also the singing of Canada and the blessing of the evening. Check it out.
des plus brillantes exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
In my heart and in my belief, every month is Black History Month. Every month. And I'm so honored and so proud to see each and every one of you here in the homeland of my people, the Algonquin people. And to me, that is a blessing, a true blessing. And together, we will walk that road as brothers and sisters. What we say is, Mama Wepimu say Chiminomi on. Together, we will walk that good road. We will walk that road in peace. We will walk that road in understanding and sharing and celebrating one another's culture, one another's people, one another's history, one another's love. But let's do that together with one determination, one love. One love.
At the Canadian government's official celebration of Black History Month 2024, there was also a display for the new stamp that has just been released commemorating Mary Ann Shadd. Mary Ann Shadd was an astounding woman in any era, in any generation. She was born in 1823, and she started a school for Black children at the age of 16, as in, what were you doing when you were 16 years old? Later on, she started an integrated school for children in Windsor, Ontario. And she was also the first Black woman to be the publisher, editor, writer of a newspaper in North America. The newspaper she started was called the Provincial Freeman. I hope you will look up more information on Mary Ann Shadd on your own, just to enrich your experience knowing more about Black excellence. And I hope you'll go out and buy her stamp. It was a wonderful evening of celebration, especially knowing there was a big announcement coming from the Prime Minister of Canada. And we're going to have a look at that as well coming up. First, we're going to talk about our sponsors, and we'll be back with more Black History Month celebration on Cool Life Podcast. Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back on Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, continuing with our look back at the February 7th celebration of Black History Month in Gatineau, hosted by the Canadian government. the Honourable Ariel Kayabaga, and an opening statement from Minister Kara.
Because of your leadership since day one that has helped our government to be deliberate and persistent in making the choice to be inclusive. And it is that choice, the choice to invest in Black communities, the choice to call out and combat anti-Black racism, the choice to celebrate Black history that all of us will continue to make. Because we know that's what we all need to do in order to build a more inclusive and equitable future for all Canadians.
So as we all know, Black History Month exists in Canada because of the incredible efforts of the Honourable JUSTIN. Please give her a round of applause. Her efforts involved advocating for the recognition of the importance of celebrating and honouring the contributions of Black Canadians throughout history.
Prepare yourselves, because there's a most moving performance of tribal drums by the Burundi National Drummers. And it is actually said that the drum itself originated from Burundi in a place called Gishora, where the finest of the drummers are trained and where they originate. And such a special performance and such a special art to observe. The drums that they play on are an elongated barrel shape made of wood and like a hollowed out trunk shape with a tightened hide at the end. And so they balance these drums, which are about 3.5, 4 feet in length. They balance them on their heads with a pad of cloth between the top of their head and the drum. And as they balance the drum, they walk and then beat the drum with thick wooden sticks in rhythm. Amazing. And they also dance and jump to the rhythm of the drums. It is a sight to behold. It will stay with you. If you ever get to see it, you're certainly going to have a chance to hear it. And I hope you enjoy. So let's take a look at the opening of the Black History Celebration in Gatineau, Quebec.
Yeah.
Prime Minister was introduced by the Honourable Emmanuel Dubourg, MP for Bourassa, Quebec.
Premier ministre du Canada! Merci Emmanuel pour cette belle allocution, merci pour ta présence ce soir, merci pour ces belles paroles, merci surtout d'être une voix forte pour la communauté et pour tous les Canadiens. Bonsoir mes amis! I am so happy to be here tonight. Although I will admit, we're lucky this event is not competing with any matches from the Africa Cup of Nations. Thank you for joining us. I know some of you are a little hoarse from all the shouting this afternoon. I know it was a big day. Some of you are watching the semifinals. It's going to be a big final match on Sunday between Nigeria and the Ivory Coast. Merci d'être ici ce soir. Merci aux artistes et merci à ceux et celles qui ont pris la parole ce soir. Vos voix sont tellement importantes pour la communauté et pour tous les Canadiens. I want to thank Kamal for organizing this event and Ariel for hosting. It's a real pleasure to be joining you with many other members of our Liberal team, including the proud members of our Black Caucus. Now, I had the chance to kick off Black History Month with members of the community last week in Toronto. I met Olu from the Black Entrepreneurship Alliance, which is helping members of the Black community start and grow their own business. I spent time with Joseph from Generation Chosen, a nonprofit organization that does incredible work supporting mental health for young people in a way that is just deeply inspiring and empowering. Ces rencontres reflètent très bien le thème de cette année, l'excellence des personnes noires. Another example of this work is what we're doing to support first-time homeowner Black families who are facing systemic challenges. Well, just last week, I met Roderick and Kamisha, who were able to move into their new home because of the financial support this government gave to organizations like Black North. So for the coming years, my friend, we will continue to support and celebrate the UN decade, and we will continue to use its momentum to further empower Black Canadians for years and indeed decades to come. Until 2028, to get the full 10 years of the decade.
Those lonely days of lockdowns and isolation are gone for good. Go to www.therealthingdating.com. That's www.therealthingdating.com. It's time to share. Share your time, share your life, share your love. www.therealthingdating.com. Join for free. Upgrade at any time, starting at just $5.99 a month. www.therealthingdating.com. Because it's time. This is Cool Life Podcast. Please remember to subscribe to Cool Life on your streaming service and on YouTube as Hellenique Today. That's HELENIQUE Today. Because that helps us to bring more cool stuff to your ears. You're listening to the Cool Life Podcast. We'll be right back. And we're back on Cool Life Podcast. I'm Eva John, and we're talking about the celebration of Black History Month. And I want to explain that in 2014, the United Nations announced that from January 2015 until December 2024, this would be the decade that would be the International Decade for People of African Descent. and they called it the decade. The purpose of the decade was to recognize that people of African descent are a distinct culture whose human rights must be protected. So obviously, here we are at the beginning of 2024, and the decade is about to come to an end. In answer to the soon-to-come conclusion of the United Nations decade, Justin Trudeau made an important announcement. So that was Justin Trudeau's very important announcement that although the United Nations decade is coming to an end, the Canadian government will actively and proactively continue to support and promote Black business and culture in Canada. Well, thank you, Justin Trudeau, and thank you to the Canadian government. It's really special and beautiful to know that an important head of state recognizes the essential need to continue to equal the scales and fight the damaging long-term generational effects of racism. I'm very proud to be a Canadian, and I'm very proud to know that our government has made this statement that they intend to continue to do the work that was inspired and ignited by the United Nations. And Justin Trudeau, pretty cool guy, after his speech, he stuck around and he watched the reprise of the Burundi National Drummers. And then he stuck around and did selfies with a lot of young ladies who I think are pretty keen on the fact that he may be considered an eligible bachelor. I won't comment further. She waves her bare fingers, ringless. No rings tonight. So let's have a look at the reprise of the Burundi National Drummers. I want to thank you for joining us for this special episode. We'll be back next week with another Tuesday upload as usual. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your support of our work here at Cool Life Podcast. And now we're going to rock on out of here with minutes of the Burundi National Drummers. Until next time, I'm Eva John. Bye. our show. Thank you for listening to the very end. Please remember to subscribe through your streaming service to get more access to our guest interviews. Also, please subscribe on YouTube to help support our podcast. Until next time, I'm Eva John for Cool Life Podcast. Thank you for turning me on.